Hi, my name is Melissa Fox. I have found that I tend to gravitate towards stories that feature strong and independent women. And the story that I've chosen, which I found in a collection called Fearless Girls, Wise Women, and Beloved Sisters by Catherine Ragan, is no exception. It's set in a time in history where women were not often independent and definitely not in positions of power. And our main character is both of those. She is calm, she's commanding, she's competent, but she never forgets the humanity of those around her. One other thing, the story has a feel of being a true one, but it's probably not. So, without further ado, the Swedish folk tale, The Ghost of Fjelkinge. During the first half of the 18th century, there lived a rich and powerful woman named Margareta Barkenau. She was the daughter of a governor general, the wife of a colonel, and after being widowed at the age of 29, she took over the management of the vast estates in the Barkenau family name. She soon became well respected for her reasonable management of those estates and for her care and concern of the tenants. One of the things Margareta was very conscientious about was traveling around to visit the towns and villages on each of her estates. One such visit found her in the village of Fjelkinge, and she needed to stay the night at the inn. Now, the thing you need to know about this inn, it was haunted. It seems several years before a traveler had stayed in one of the rooms and then disappeared overnight, his goods, everything. After that, anyone who tried to stay in that room would run out screaming, not being able to stay the whole night. It soon became known as the Ghost's Room. After being told this, Margareta was not afraid and actively chose to stay in this room. She got ready for bed. She said her evening prayers. She got into bed, but she left the light burning. At midnight, a dreadful apparition rose from the floor. It was the traveler, a wound in his neck, so much so that his head was nearly on his shoulder. He pled with Margareta, "Noble lady, I beg of you, find justice and peace for a murdered man and swift punishment for his murderer." Being pure of heart, Margareta was moved. "Of course, my dear sir, and come close that I may bind your wound." "Oh, noble lady," the traveler replied, "I have pled my case with many, many others, and no one has ever had the courage that you have had to hear me out." He came close, and Margareta took off her gold ring and placed it in his wound and bound it with her fine linen handkerchief. And as thanks, the traveler told her the name of his murderer and disappeared noiselessly into the floor. The next morning, Margareta summoned the sheriff and the innkeeper. Both readily came, as did many others who were curious what the commotion was. Margareta commanded the floor to be pulled up, and underneath they found a half-decomposed corpse. In the wound was Margareta's ring. Around his neck was the linen handkerchief, and that way they knew it was the traveler. Upon seeing this, someone in the crowd, a merchant who frequented the inn, fainted dead away. When he was revived, he confessed to murdering the traveler and stealing all his goods. Margareta confirmed this, for she knew his name, and even though she was saddened that he would resort to murder and thievery to better his situation, she commanded his swift punishment. And then she arranged for a swift burial for the traveler in a nearby churchyard. As for the ring, which stayed in the Barkenau family, it was said to have miraculous powers against evil spirits and sicknesses and other misfortunes. The end. I liked what Ragan had to say in the commentary after the story. She said, Margareta was commanding and competent and confident, and yet she took the time to bind the ghost's wound with her own personal handkerchief. Would a rich lord or a male CEO have done that? I hope you enjoyed my story. Thanks.